Come help Daddy. Yeah? Where's that go? Show me where it goes. Is that where it goes? Yeah? Is that how it goes? Your face is so dirty. Good job. What's up YouTube? This is my mother-in-law's 2008 Acura TSX. She took it up to have the inspection done on the car to get it registered, and they did her a favor and went ahead and checked everything, all the fluids and everything. But they also sent pictures of the rear brakes that were almost out. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be replacing the rear brakes and possibly doing an oil change. So let's get to it. So to pop the, need to pop this bolt off and this bolt off, and then this caliper will come off. And I've got some hangers, and I'll hang it up here somewhere because you don't want to you don't want them to dangle on the hose. And then there are 2 more bolts to get the bracket off, which are here and right there. So we'll demonstrate that, and also to get the rotor off, we got to remove these 2 here, and I've got a special tool for that, and I'll show it here in a little while. These are size 12, and the bracket bolts back there are size 14. 12 and a 14, and I'm actually using a 3/8. And I got a couple of extensions just in case. And also you want to get a vice grip or something, because these pins tend to turn sometimes, so I like to use these needle nose vice grips, because there's rubber right here and you don't want to get onto the rubber. And you really don't need to hold these too tight. They shouldn't be turning at all, but you know, that's just for backup. See it turn? So it's just really just holding it still. Pop this bottom loose real quick. And I'm using the extension just to make it a little easier to get it off. So both of these bolts are loosened up, and I'll go ahead and take them all the way out. On the cord caliper, you can take a pry bar in here and push it, and it'll compress the caliper, which makes it easier to come off. But I'm not sure if these are the screw type or the push type. Yeah. So I was able to pry this just a little bit with the against the pad, and now it's wiggling a little bit, which is perfect. All right. So let's get these bolts the rest of the way out. Bam, number one's out. And these bolts aren't very long, as you can see. Ooh. And it's nice to have one of these magnetic trays to keep your bolts in there. And you can actually stick that right there. Out she comes. So I bought these hangers on Amazon for like $6 or $7 delivered. They're handy, or you can use a coat hanger, you can use a zip tie, you can use anything. just something to, I've seen some people actually just set it up there, but I'm always afraid it's going to fall, so I don't do that. Okay, off it comes. And it looks like it'll just sit right there. Bang it! Alright, so I went ahead and loosened up the 14mm bolts, 1, 2, and as you can see, the pads are definitely worn down, but they are pretty much even. I'm not sure about what's left on the tolerance of this rotor, so I went and ordered 2 new rotors as well. So I've got new pads and rotors. Slap them on, we're good to go. We got both of these out. You saw me use the tool. So I'm just going to remove these. Come off just like this, just like that, and pads are pretty worn. So anyway, there's a nice little ridge here, which indicates it's probably worn. This car's got 190 something thousand miles on it, so it's probably time to change them anyway. All right, let's get to it. Bracket after you remove the 2 14mm bolts. 14s. This little bracket comes right off. Boom. Yep. And now we're going to bang that rotor. Boom! It's that easy. One little tap. Comes right off. Yeah. Okay, so I saw a Honda tech, or a guy that was working on Hondas. He seemed to be pretty knowledgeable, and he said that if you need to clean this surface here, or else you'll have pulsations and whatnot, you can use sandpaper, or I'm going to try to use this thing here.
Just want to get the surface rust off, so that way the rotor makes a flat surface.
You want to do it in a way it doesn't mar up your lugs. But as you can see, this has a hole in it, so I just put it over like that. Alright, so everything looks to be pretty shiny-ish. At least it's smooth. Got all the surface rust off. We got the Centric Posi Quiet premium disc pads. These are ceramic or hybrid, I can't remember. It should come with the hardware. Let's see if that's the truth. Look at there, brand new hardware, awesome. And here are the pads, so we're good to go. Got some rotors. If you'll remember from my other video, I ordered a Centric slave cylinder for my Corvette, and this is the part number that I ordered. Centric. All right. Oh, there it is right there. Ceramic. Includes hardware kit. So there you go. All right, as you can see, we've got everything torn down. I was starting to put the new rotor back on, and then I realized that they only sent me 1 rotor, which is my fault, because I was supposed to click 2. Apparently, I mean, I assumed that it had 2, but it was only 1, but it was only $21. I mean, and I just ordered another one. It's $29 with shipping. It was like $8 shipping, $21 for the part, which is cheaper than I could get, you know, a similar quality brake rotor like that for. I guess I could go turn those old ones and see if they'll work and throw them on today, but you know, then I'll have an extra rear brake rotor. So what I'm going to do, what I did was I went ahead and ordered another one of these for $29 shipped from Rock Auto. And this is the downfall of using Rock Auto. You save a lot of money. However, sometimes if you forget to order a part or something, you run into this situation here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to button everything back up with the old parts. They're still working. There's no safety issue, and then I'll have to pick back up where I left off. You know, you live and you learn, you make mistakes, and fail number one on this job. I thought I was gonna get through the whole thing without a fail, but that's all right. That's okay. We live and we learn, right? So we'll pick back up whenever we get the new parts, and probably in a couple of days, and get it all put together. All right, see you then. Got my box in from rockauto.com. So let's open this up and make sure it's the right part. 120440055. So we're good. Got our other brake rotor. I could have gotten another brake rotor at like AutoZone or O'Reilly's or something like that, Advance, but the downside of that is we'd have to mismatch rotors, or if I could buy two over there, I'd have one sitting here and I have to return it or something. So anyway, that's the downside of ordering stuff online. You gotta wait for it, you know? Sometimes you get ordered from the parts store and you gotta wait a day to get it anyways. So once a couple of days, you know, if you're running a shop or something, you got to get stuff in and out. I can understand, but I think the price at the local auto parts store was almost twice as much for the quality brand. I think the cheaper ones were right around the same price, but this is a higher quality, supposedly. Premium. See that right there? Premium brake rotor. Installation ready, finished. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off with some brake fluid anyway, because I think there's supposed to be a film on there. So let's go ahead and get this car pulled in and get it knocked out. There's two where the screws go. They're kind of beveled in. There's two here. So there's two with indentations. So I'm putting those. And everything looks like it's lining up. Screws back in. Phillips head-ish. I don't know if they're actually Phillips head. Like a special type of Phillips, weird. There we go. Just a little tap. Probably should have cleaned this off beforehand, but I didn't, so that's what I'm doing now. I mean, you run the risk when you do it off the car that you're going to touch it and get it nice and dirty anyway. So okay, that was pretty easy. I'm just holding the back of it over here and then just spinning it, because why not? Make sure if there's any kind of residue or whatever that it's no longer on there. As far as compressing this caliper, you see how it's, there it is. This is a screw type. So what this takes is one of these, and you just stick your 3/8 in there and you find whatever size fits it. You take it in there and you screw it in. And the other kind is a compression type, which you use this and you just slide it in there and push, but this is definitely a screw type, which I found on the back of my Honda Accord is the exact same type, which is why I have this. And these are not too expensive, I guess. That, you know, I think I got this one in Napa. It's pretty reasonable, decent reviews. So, like I said, this is a 3/8, and you'll want to screw it all the way in until it's flush. You know, you want to be careful to not damage the rubber like that, because sometimes it slips off. You just go slow. Once you get it started, it starts moving pretty well. Let me try. 4-sider works. Let's try that. 4 is better than 2. Yeah. Alright, I think it just stopped, which is, oh. Alright, so I screwed it all the way in, you know, to make room for the brake pads in here, because the new pads are going to be thicker, obviously, so this needs to be screwed all the way back to make room. And now I'm going to replace the hardware. What's weird is I went to the Honda dealer for my Acura, or my Honda Accord, to get brake pads, and I spent like $70 or $80 on brake pads, and they did not come with the hardware, which is really a joke. You know, it's like it's a kick in the teeth. I had to buy hardware on rockauto.com for like $12 or $15 shipped, in addition to buying the pads at Honda. So it was like a kick in the teeth, man. Honda wanted, I think they wanted like $30 something for all the hardware, and they only had 3 of the 4 pieces there. It was ridiculous. So whatever. There it goes. Just need a little coaxing. There it is. Came right out. Let's match these up. New one's the old one. Let's see if Centric did a good job. They did an excellent job, because it's like an exact match. I don't know why I need to replace this piece, but whatever. I have it, so I'm gonna stick it in. Okay, that was really easy. So when I pulled this bracket off, I left both the brake pads on there so I would know what side, actually it goes like this, so I would know which side the squealer goes on. I always look at it beforehand to make sure, and these actually have shims on them, so I left it like this so I could tell how to set up the new pads. Okay, so these already have the shims on them installed. And it has the squealer right here, so this one goes on here, and I'm going to not set that down on the pad, obviously. Maybe not so obviously. So the squealer goes like that. So I'm going to set this here, so I know that goes there, so I know it goes boonk, and this one goes boonk like that. And you can see, yeah, I'd say her pads are pretty well worn out, although the squealer was not quite squealing yet. You can see, yeah, yep, that is definitely worn out. Let's do one side at a time. Well, that snapped right off, didn't it? Perfect. These kind of clip right up in there. Spray some Blake cleaner there, and this should just snap right back in there, and it does. All right, let's get the other side. Oh wow, that's not cleaned up well. So don't take anything I see seriously. or do, whatever, I don't care. This is all for educational purposes or humor, one or the other. It's not quite seating in there perfectly, but whatever, it's fine. So, all right. Now, lubrication. I'm gonna lubricate all along here, here. On the clip that I just attached to the caliper, it slides along here, so I'm gonna put a little bit there on both the clip on the caliper. So I got this silicone or ceramic extreme brake lubricant. It's good from negative 50 degrees to positive 3,000 degrees by Permatex. Number 20354. Yep, that's it. All right, let's get some lubrication on here. I kind of like this versus the dip and brush thing, because this way I can just kind of squeeze a little bit there, squeeze a little bit there, squeeze a little bit on there, squeeze a little bit there, squeeze a little bit there. Cool. Oh yeah. One thing I forgot. Your pins here. You gotta lubricate the pins. So, take one out at a time. Oh man, I should have done this before. Fail number 1. Lubricate the pins before you do your hardware. Or you might have a mess on your hands. There we go. Okay, see how gross that is? That's pretty gross. So the boots are okay. They're in okay shape, which is great. So all you got to do is take a blue towel, spray some brake cleaner on there, clean it off like that. Now you don't want to take both of these out at the same time, because one of them they're different. One of them has like a little rubber piece or something on it, and you'll be able to see that on the other one when I take it out. Let me dry this off right quick. I think I bought some pin specific lubrication. If not, I'll just use this stuff, because apply caliper lube to pins, slides, bushings, pistons. Okay, yeah, this stuff works. If it works on pins, why not just use it on pins, I guess. So put a little bit. Make sure it's nice, and you don't want to put too much in there, because you'll have like a lock, you know. It'll be locked in there. Hydraulic lock. That's the name I was trying to figure out. Yep, I just touched it. You gross. All right, so these things just snap right together. Boom. Now the other one. This one should be different. I'm kind of holding the boot. You don't want to use anything metal, if you can help it, to pry this boot back. You don't want to just like pull it off either, because then you'll rip the boot. Let's see if I can use just to kind of break the seal a little bit. Yep, there it goes. Bonk. There it goes. Ew. That one's gross. Now, if you don't, well, I guess this one isn't any different, but on some of the pins they're different, so just do one at a time. The downside of not doing this is that they may stick. So your brakes will compress, but they won't release, and you don't want that because then you'll have brake pads riding on your rotor, and they'll wear out. And you'll be doing them again real soon because they wear out fast. I like this stuff. Use it on everything. Look, nice and purple. My wife's favorite color. Okay, now I got it over my fingers, which is awesome. Didn't mean to do that. Put a little more on there because why not? And then it just slides right in, and you can see it snap on. And it doesn't really matter which direction these are turned, so let me double check to make sure I got enough lube there, and replace what I wiped off with my finger here. And yeah, get this bracket's ready to go back on. Grease right here on this bracket. And this bracket. Go ahead and take my big bolts. Try not to get grease on your new rotor that I just cleaned. Okay, that's probably good enough. Alright, the squealer goes on the bottom, on the back, like so. Well, there we go. That fit nicely. And then this one goes on the front. That fits nicely. And put a little extra grease here. Man, I really like this tube. And then that slides right on. Put the bottom bolt in first. I don't know if you noticed I had to push the pin in a little bit. Okay. Tighten that bad boy up. Okay, that thing's on. It ain't, where you going? Nowhere. Success. Done. Alright. So now, we just got an empty tray. Got no more parts to put on. Everything's lubed up, tightened up. So just got to do the other side right quick and drop her down and take her for a test drive. All right, side two, passenger side is finished. You got a empty tray here, so all our parts to put back on. So let's slap the wheels on it and let's go drive it. This is a torque wrench from Tecton. I think it's like 50 to, or 10 to 150. Yeah, 10 foot-pounds to 150 foot-pounds. It was like $35, I think, or something like that. I'll put it in the video, but I always check the manual, even though I know Hondas are typically 80 foot-pounds. So, and then you run it up to the 80, where it's 80 and 0, and that's 80 foot-pounds. And then you tighten the bottom, and you're good to go. So what happens is, you put this on there, you get to the desired torque, it clicks. So you stop. You're supposed to exercise the mechanism, so. Alright, so everything's all buttoned back up. I'm going to take it for a test drive and then wait for the parts and we'll get them back on. Here we go! Alright, one thing to note, the emergency brake. I was a little bit afraid, not afraid, but concerned, because when I pulled the brake up and I put it on the ground to torque the wheels, it was moving back and forth, which was weird because it wasn't catching. And now it's working. So what I read is these brakes are self-adjusting. So all you have to do is push the button down and pull it back a few times, all the way hard, and then it's right back to normal. Because at first it went all the way to the top and it was real light. Now it's back to where it's supposed to be. So even just a little bit there, and it's not going anywhere. And that's on both sides. So don't be afraid. If it doesn't work right away, afterwards you might want to check it. Before you go anywhere. That's what I did. Is check it before I went somewhere. I was a little bit concerned, so I checked it. I had my mother-in-law come out here and step on the brake. I was spinning the tire, she stepped on the brake, the wheel stopped. I tried the other side, same thing. So I know the hydraulics are working. And then I read about the parking brake adjustment. Did that. Now it works. Now I can put it back on the ground and take it for a test drive. So here we go. Alright, let's go for a test drive. Put it in reverse. Parking brake on it, stops. Parking brake stops it. We're good. Parking brake works. 10 miles an hour. Stop. 20 miles an hour. Stop. It's working fine. 30 and 40 miles an hour, maybe 50 miles an hour, and 60 miles an hour. I guess you'll let it warm up a little bit, eh? This car needs some more work done. It's got 195,733 miles.